In March 2016, Michelle has a fight with her fiancé and decides to break up with him. Feeling heartbroken, she packs her belongings, leaves her home, and abandons her engagement ring and keys. While driving out of the city, she stops at a gas station and notices a truck parked behind her, but doesn't think much of it. She continues driving and ignores calls from her ex, who leaves pleading messages on her voicemail. Tired of his persistence, Michelle turns on the radio and hears news about a power surge causing a blackout in the city. Suddenly, as her phone rings again, she looks down at it, and something slams into her car, flipping it over. She passes out from the crash. Michelle wakes up in a plain concrete room with an injured leg in a cast that's chained to the wall. She tries to free her leg, but it's no use. Nearby, she spots her belongings on the ground. Using an IV pole, she drags her phone toward her but discovers there's no signal. Heavy footsteps approach, and a man named Howard enters the room carrying food and a gun on his belt. Michelle begs for mercy, but Howard ignores her, adjusts the IV bag, and says he's keeping her alive. He hands her crutches so she can practice walking, then leaves, saying no one is looking for her. Before leaving, he gives her the chain key. Michelle frees herself with the key and tries the door, but it's locked. Determined to escape, she sharpens one of the crutches into a stake and waits by the door to ambush Howard. When he doesn't return, Michelle sets her shirt on fire and throws it into the vent, triggering the fire alarm. Howard rushes in, but before Michelle can attack, he overpowers her and injects her with a sedative. When Michelle wakes up again, Howard brings her more food. He explains that she should be grateful because he saved her life. He claims that a dangerous attack, possibly nuclear, has left the outside air contaminated, and they are safe only in his bunker. According to Howard, it will take years before it's safe to go outside, but Michelle doubts his story. She asks to contact her family, but Howard insists everyone outside is already dead. Suddenly, a noise echoes through the bunker. Howard rushes out to deal with it, locking Michelle in the room again. A few hours later, Michelle wakes up to the sound of what seems like a car passing by overhead. She also notices the door to her room is open and immediately steps out. In the main area, she finds shelves stocked with supplies and Emmett, a man with a broken arm and other injuries, sitting nearby. Michelle tries to convince him to team up and escape, but Emmett believes Howard's claim that the air outside is contaminated. Howard arrives and explains the noise Michelle heard was just Emmett dropping some things. He then gives Michelle a tour of the bunker, which is fully equipped and decorated to feel like a home. There are shelves of supplies, entertainment options, and enough food to last years. However, there's only one bathroom located in Howard's bedroom. He insists Michelle shower without closing the door because he doesn't trust her yet. At least the shower has a curtain for privacy. Later, when the power flickers, Michelle suggests it could have been caused by a passing car, remembering the noise from earlier. Howard dismisses her, insisting no one is outside, and shows her his silent radio as proof that there's no activity beyond the bunker. He also briefly mentions someone named Megan, but doesn't explain who she is or what happened to her. Still skeptical, Howard takes Michelle to the entrance and lets her look through the window. Outside, she sees dead pigs, which Howard claims were killed by the poisoned air, but her attention is drawn to a truck with bloodstains on it, which makes her even more suspicious. Later, Emmett shares what he knows about Howard. He explains Howard used to work on satellites for the military and had him help build the bunker years ago. Michelle tells Emmett she believes Howard is lying, but Emmett disagrees. He recalls seeing a bright, explosion-like light in the sky, which scared him so much that he forced his way into the bunker to survive, injuring his arm in the process. Michelle mentions hearing a car earlier, but their conversation is cut short when Howard announces dinner is ready. Dinner is tense and awkward, with Emmett trying to lighten the mood by chatting about random topics. Howard grows irritated and yells at him to stop. Seizing this moment, Michelle starts flirting with Emmett, gently touching his arm and playing along with his conversation. Howard becomes visibly jealous and slams Michelle against the wall, yelling at her for disrespecting him. During the commotion, Michelle manages to steal the keys from his belt while pretending to apologize and behave. Suddenly, another car noise is heard from outside, distracting Howard. Taking the chance, Michelle hits him with a bottle and runs toward the entrance. She unlocks the first door, having watched Howard do it earlier, but struggles with the second one. Outside, a car stops near the farm, and Michelle begins shouting for help. A woman steps out of the car and runs toward the bunker door, begging to be let inside while insisting she didn't touch it. Michelle is horrified by the severe injuries on the woman's face, confirming Howard's warnings were true. Accepting the situation, Michelle returns inside the bunker. Later, Howard admits he caused Michelle's car crash, but it wasn't on purpose. He panicked while trying to reach the bunker during the attack and accidentally hit her car. Howard shares some of Megan's old clothes with Michelle, and while she stitches up her cut from the bottle incident, he opens up more about his life. He explains Megan was his daughter, but his ex-wife took her to Chicago, and he hasn't seen her in a long time. The conversation ends with Howard showing Michelle a picture of Megan. The group begins to settle into a routine. They cook meals together, play games, and share stories. Michelle starts doodling on magazines and reveals she used to be a fashion designer, which she misses. One day, the bunker shakes, the lights flicker, and a loud noise suggests helicopters are flying nearby. sky. Howard insists they're enemy helicopters looking for survivors, based on his Navy experience. Suddenly, an alarm goes off, signaling a problem with the air filtration system. Since Michelle is the smallest, she crawls into the vents to fix it. The space is tight, and she struggles, but she eventually reaches the mechanical room and restarts the system following Howard's instructions. While there, she notices a ladder leading to a window hatch. When she climbs up, she finds the word "help" scratched into the window with a bloodstain nearby. Climbing back down, she discovers bloodied earrings on the floor. Later, Michelle shows the earrings and Megan's picture to Emmett, pointing out that they match. Emmett, however, recognizes the girl in the picture as Brittany, a local girl who disappeared 2 years ago. Michelle tells him about the scratched word "help," and while examining Howard's book, another photo falls out. It shows Howard and Brittany together. To their shock, Brittany is wearing the same shirt Michelle is currently wearing, confirming Howard killed her. Michelle and Emmett quietly discuss their next steps but are interrupted by Howard, who tells Michelle to shower due to possible contamination. In the bathroom, Michelle notices the shower curtain and realizes she could use it to build a hazmat suit. She and Emmett form a plan. That evening, while Howard is distracted watching a VHS tape, Emmett hides a pair of scissors in his sling. He then tricks Howard into thinking Michelle has been contaminated in the bathroom, leading Howard to throw the shower curtain away out of paranoia. Michelle retrieves the curtain later in secret. Over the next few days, Michelle begins working on the hazmat suit in her room, using random items from around the bunker, like plastic bottles for the mask. Whenever Michelle hears Howard walking by, she quickly hides everything under her mattress. One day, Howard makes Michelle and Emmett take out a barrel from a cabinet and explains it contains dangerous acid. He then reveals he found tools hidden in Emmett's bed, throwing them into the acid while demanding an explanation. Trying to save their plan, Emmett lies, saying he took the tools to make a weapon because he wanted Michelle to respect him the way she respects Howard. He apologizes, and Howard appears to accept it, only to suddenly shoot Emmett in the head. Michelle steps back in horror as Howard approaches, claiming he did it to protect her because Emmett might have hurt her. Howard then sends her to her room while he disposes of the body. In her room, Michelle mourns Emmett while staring at his ID. Howard interrupts her, now clean-shaven and freshly dressed, leaving her some ice cream and suggesting they can finally be a happy family. After he leaves, Michelle finds Emmett's bus ticket to university in his wallet and resolves not to give up so his sacrifice won't be in vain. For the rest of the day, Michelle continues working on the suit. When she hears Howard approaching, she quickly hides everything but accidentally leaves the mask out. Panicking, she hides the mask in the vent just before Howard enters to call her for dinner. A screw falls on him, prompting Howard to check the vent, but he doesn't find the mask. However, he notices something sticking out from under the mattress and pushes Michelle aside to uncover the suit. Michelle seizes the moment to run out of the room and lock the door behind her. She goes to Howard's room to grab a chemical coolant, discovering Emmett's body dissolving in the acid. When Howard shows up to stop her, she kicks the barrel of acid toward him, causing him to fall. The acid begins dissolving the carpet and spreading, forcing Michelle to flee. The spreading acid ignites a fire, triggering the alarm. Michelle retrieves the hazmat suit from her room, but a half-burnt Howard tries to catch her again. She knocks over a shelf to block him and escapes. With the fire blocking the main door, Michelle climbs through the vent to reach the mechanical room. Howard hears her and starts stabbing the vent, but she dodges every attempt. He grabs her ankle, but Michelle kicks him until he lets go. Reaching the mechanical room, Michelle puts on the hazmat suit and seals every seam with tape. She climbs the ladder, uses the coolant to break the padlock, and opens the hatch to escape the bunker. Once outside, Michelle carefully scans the area before running to Howard's truck. As she stumbles, Michelle accidentally tears her suit and quickly seals it with tape. Then she hears a noise and looks up to see birds flying by. Realizing the air is clean, she removes her mask and takes a deep breath, relieved. Suddenly, another noise rumbles through the sky, and Michelle spots an aircraft in the distance. She notices movement in the shed and hides, thinking it's Howard, but at that moment, the bunker explodes. The blast catches the attention of the aircraft, which starts heading toward the farm. As it gets closer, Michelle realizes it's an alien spaceship. Panicked, she runs to Howard's truck, but it doesn't have keys. She tries the car left by the injured woman, but its alarm goes off, drawing the aliens closer. Michelle runs into the shed and finds the woman's body inside. She uses a hole in the wall to peek outside and sees a creature checking the car. Desperate, Michelle searches the body for the car keys. Just as the alien approaches the shed, she turns off the alarm, diverting it back to the car. Michelle sneaks out of the shed and heads toward another house, but the alien hears her and starts chasing her. They both pause when a noise comes from the house. The spaceship is approaching with the bright light Emmett had described. The ship releases a gas, so Michelle grabs her mask and puts it on just before the gas blows up the house. She rushes to hide in the truck, but the alien blocks the door and snatches her mask before moving away. Michelle seizes the chance to lock herself inside. Suddenly, the spaceship lifts the truck into the air. Inside, Michelle finds a lighter and a wine bottle. Using maps, she creates a Molotov cocktail cocktail. Once the truck is close to the spaceship, she throws the bomb, causing the alien to explode and the truck to drop. The spaceship crashes into the field while Michelle survives thanks to the truck's seats. After escaping, Michelle drives away in the woman's car, accidentally knocking over a mailbox with the address 10 Cloverfield. A few minutes later, she hears a broadcast on the car radio. Survivors mention a safe zone in Baton Rouge and others fighting in Houston. Determined to help, Michelle decides to head to Houston, ready to face more aliens.
And with that, the movie ends. We hope you enjoyed our video. Watch the next recaps on the screen, and don't forget to subscribe for more amazing recaps. See you in the next one.